I think, I think, not a practical joke on me, but I do remember our stand was always close to the Guinness stand at the boat shows, and all the directors for Guinness were coming down one morning to inspect the stand. And Chris got one of those radio-controlled model cars and stuck a cardboard cutout of a bottle of Mackerson on it. And all the directors were standing there looking at their stand, and in comes this bottle of Mackerson's radio control.
I had used that before because they had the big inflatable toucan at the top of the stand at Southampton, and they let it down and all went off out for the night. So we went up there and we tied this bottle of Mackerson to the beak. Well, they didn't look, and the next morning up went this enormous great inflatable toucan with the bottle of Mackerson gently flowing, and of course they being in the stand, they had no idea it was there until somebody told them about 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Fortunately, the manager of the Guinness stand was a very good friend of ours and did appreciate a joke.
Yeah, they had paper signs up saying Guinness once, so we took them down and put them back up, and it now said Nun's Gin.
He was a good man.
That was the days when boat shows were fun and they weren't so terribly serious. One is an increase in motorboating. At one time, most of the business we would see was sailing, with the odd motorboat. But motorboats in the last 25 years have increased in numbers now. And one of the games we used to play was counting at quotes at boat shows to see whether they were sailing or motor, which one was now the most. And I think motorboating has increased dramatically. The bottom end of the markets remain fairly static, speedboats, dinghies, that sort of thing. There's not been much change there. Watercraft, the jet skis and things like that have again remained fairly static. They got up to a certain figure and stayed there. But in general terms, as far as boat owners are concerned, the other major change is, of course, that when I came into the business, there were several major UK sailing boat builders. Now look for one. And most of them come from abroad. It's an interesting, you're talking about the jokes we used to play at the boat show. In 1976, the Southampton Boat Show was a whole load of rented-in caravans. They were the stands. And you used to have fun being silly. But nowadays, A, it wouldn't be allowed, and B, it just wouldn't work anymore. It, as Robin said, it's got much more professional from that point of view as an industry. People are much more serious.
Well, you jumped it, Chris, when you bought the bus.
That's true.
And Chris bought this single-decker bus, and we had it converted so that it became our stand. But we also put some bunks in the end of it. So you could go to a boat show, have it open all day, you could make coffee and everything else. In the evening when the show closed, you could close that down and then make your meal and sleep on board. And then drive this bus around the country to the next show. I thought that bus was highly successful. It was ahead of the caravans.
Oh, yes.
But I expect they wouldn't allow it these days.
No, it's against the law now. When I did it,
Really?
it was a mobile exhibition unit, so it didn't need an MOT, didn't need a plating certificate, and needed an ordinary car licence to drive it. So I get to drive a bus. Mark, it did have its problems. We had a stand at the back of us one year full of wonderful clothing. And I warned him that we had to be first off site because they needed that corner opposite the Guinness stand. So I said, you better get your stand closed down because this bus has been sitting here for the last fortnight and it's a big old diesel engine. Oh, I'll be all right, he says. Okay, fine. So we started the engine up, and of course the cloud of black smoke that covered all the clothing in his stand wasn't very popular. But he wasn't next door to us the next year. Never understood that.